Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. You somebody who's worried about where your data is going. Do you think it should be protected? Are you concerned that people are getting your information and you've not given them permission to get that information, and now maybe they're writing to you, perhaps they're asking for money? Well, this is a big concern for a lot of people, and it's a surprise actually to many that the data is not supposed to be shared the way it is shared. And let's investigate some of that. My guest today is Peter Wilson, who's been on the show before. You can find him at Return to True Democracy on YouTube, or claimyourstrawman.co.uk, I think it was. .com. There he is. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me back. It's great to be back again.
We were talking about trusts, and I have to say you put over the information about trusts very clearly, which was fantastic, because I had a number of emails from people saying exactly that. They found the information really helpful. So I'm hoping that you can help us through the murky world of debt collection and the data protection, this GDPR that we hear about, and sometimes can be a bit of a minefield for some people.
For sure. But I mean, data in general really is like, you've heard it many times before, like information is the new gold, or data is the new gold. And it really, really is. And if you look at the way things are going, even in ridiculous places that you would never have thought of, like supermarkets, you walk into a supermarket now and you're looking at a huge, big picture of yourself. That's them collecting your data.
Yeah,
they have no right to do it without your consent. And, I've actually questioned supermarkets about this, and they get very, very shirty and aggressive and defensive. The security guards, right? Never come back if you don't like it. Well, and their thing is they say, well, look, it's just for security. So what they're actually saying in reality, everyone's a criminal and we're just waiting to catch you at it.
Yeah, you're guilty before you're proved innocent.
Exactly. So we need everybody's picture and everybody's information, right? So we know that you're all thieving. We're just waiting to catch you. I mean, that's the reality of it. It's insanity. But well, I'm not going to go on about the supermarket too much, but they do need to go under like Section 6 if they want to actually collect data, and you need to write consent. It isn't,
Right.
it's not tacit. But anyway, the data thing, though, is used massively and extensively in the banking system and also in the debt collection industry. Two separate markets, but they work hand in hand together. And the thing is with the debt collection agents, and they talk about, I'll go through it, like notices of assignment and these assignments to them, and they are now either the controller or simply the agent of the actual debt. They never, ever buy the debt. Never, ever.
Right. That's interesting, because a lot of people have said to me that these enforcement agents or these debt collectors, they have bought the debt. But that's interesting what you say there.
Yeah. You see, and this is their Achilles heel as well. Now, what I'm talking about is that I've got a section of notices called SARs, which is a subject access request. We being the subject, and we're requesting access to all of the data that's held on us by any corporation, whatever one it would be. So, and the thing is, with them being a corporation, they are legally obliged. This is the good thing. They are legally obliged to give you all the data that they hold on you. Okay.
Right.
So if you, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, and like that guy, Nigel Farage, he got kicked out of his bank. I think it was Coots Bank, when you can only get into it, get mega wealthy anyway.
Yeah.
And somebody, I remember watching him afterwards, and somebody said, told him to do an SAR, and I don't know what that is. I have no idea. How do you do that? But he did it. He followed their instructions, and then they sent him all of the data that they had on him, why all the messages that they'd sent to each other, like telling each other that he was a racist and he was this and a bigot, and he got all of it. So he was able to hold them to account. Now, obviously he's got a bit more pull than us maybe, but the thing is, they are legally obliged. So the good thing is, rather than saying, we're going under law, we're being lawful, I'm standing as a man, no, let's for once, let's just go down their road. Let's jump into their wagon, and what we'll do is we'll actually use all of their rules and beat them at their own game.
Yes, because they've got nowhere to go back on. They can't say, oh, you're just making that up, that doesn't exist and all that, because it's there in legislation.
Well, that's the funny thing is they still say that, right?
Do they?
Yeah, they still exactly what they say. So what happens is, and I've seen it many times, I've helped like, dozens and dozens of people. We create an SER and we send it to, let's say, well, I would send it to the debt collector. So it goes to the debt collector, and a lot of times you get the response of, oh, you've been on the internet, you've got a template. Now, I actually done an interview a while back, just a few weeks ago, a month ago maybe, with one of my colleagues like Richie, and we've been trying to set it up to go to court with these debt collectors to prove the point of what we've been saying under GDPR, that they never buy the debt.
Right.
And I don't know how, he doesn't know how, accidentally, on purpose, for whatever reason, whoever it was that was at the debt collector or the bank sent him all of the templates that the Barclays Bank sent to all the debt collectors on how to use them against us.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but also the fee structure on how they actually purchased the debt, and proof of basically how they never ever buy the debt. And if they can't enforce what they've bought, which is only the data, then they get refunded as well.
Right. So they're on a win-win.
A massive win-win, and this is the crazy thing. I don't know how they've made a mistake and sent all of that information. What we had asked for, and this is the key to everything when you're dealing with the debt collectors, under GDPR and DPA 2018, they must supply you with all the data they hold on you. Any corporation has to. So we ask for the legally executed deed of assignment from the original creditor to the original debt collector.
Right.
Okay, that is what they can never have. And we ask for it under the Law of Property Act 1989 miscellaneous provisions, which explains to anyone who wants to read it how it needs to be executed. Any deed, if you look at any deed in conveyancing and housing, a deed needs to be executed in a very particular way, and it needs to be signed by all parties and by witnesses all at the same time. You can't get someone to sign as a witness a month later or a week later. It's got to be done. Yeah. Now, this is the thing with the debt collectors. They try to be very clever. So you've got two sets of debt collectors. One will say, we are now the agent. The others will say, we have purchased your debt. We are now legal owners and we have all rights, blah, blah, blah. So there's two different ways you have to deal with them. But let's talk about the deed of assignment first, because that is what happens when they actually say they purchased the debt. As soon as they send you what they call is the notice of assignment, they're using that word because they love the word assignment. That looks like it's legal and it's all above board. But a notice of assignment is literally me sending you a letter saying, hey, Richard, you owe me 50 grand now. Make sure you pay it to me instead. And that's it. There's nothing else.
And if I don't know you from Adam, or I know that I haven't borrowed that money, why would I do it?
Exactly. I mean, you just like, hang on a second, what's going on here? I'm not going to go and start sending you money. I've never met you before, never heard of you before. I know I've never signed a contract.
And there's certainly no witnesses.
Well, most definitely. So, but when they're saying that they've purchased it, in reality, what they're alleging is a claim, and they're claiming that they have a valid, legally executed deed of assignment under those regulations, like Law of Property Act 1989 miscellaneous provisions and Law of Property Act 1925, Section 136, which shows them it needs to be signed to be assigned. It needs a signature to be assigned. Now, what they come back with is also great. First of all, they'll say, well, you've got a template. Well done. very sarcastic. And then they'll say, there's no law under the Law of Property Act, there's no instructions that says we have to show you the deed of assignment. And they're correct. That's not what we asked for. What we're sending on the SER is under GDPR and DPA, Data Protection Act 2018, which states categorically that they have to supply all data that they hold on you. So if they've said, which they have claimed, they have a valid deed of assignment, it would have to have your data on, your name,
Yes.
your address, your original contract number or account number, the loan number, the amount. That's all your data. So they must show you it. They've got no
Yes.
choice.
So if it's not in the bundle that they've sent you, if they send you anything, you can say, well, hold on a minute. It's just a matter of logic.
Exactly that. Now, this is the good thing for us, right? Is that they haven't got a deed of assignment because they've never purchased the debt. It's
Right.
like a receipt. So if you've gone in and you buy yourself a new cravat, you want to come in and just think, oh, do you know what? I've just found out I've got that color already. I want to take it back and exchange for a different color. And they'll say, yeah, no problem. Where's the receipt? You can't just turn around and say, I haven't got one, but I did buy it really. So come on, give me a new one.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect to get it, would you?
And I mean, unless you know the people and they know you and they remember it and all of that. But if it's completely,
yeah.
normal practice, you wouldn't, would you? No.
Exactly. I mean, like more and more now with all of these ridiculous rules in the supermarkets, let's get back to them. You try walking out without your receipt and you get stopped. And I've seen the videos that go crazy where you're not getting out with that food. That is your receipt. That's a trust, by the way. Talk about trusts. That receipt is your trust. Anyway.
Right.
But, so the valid, legally executed deed of assignment is a receipt for them saying they've purchased your debt. But this is where the GDPR and DPA comes in because they haven't. They've only purchased the data. So we've seen
and are they, sorry to jump in there, Peter, are they
no worries.
allowed to purchase the data without your permission?
No, absolutely not. But they're never going to admit that. So, what we've got to do with this, and what I've done is I've concentrated and laser focused on, look, let's just go and attack this deed of assignment under GDPR and DPA 2018. That's where they've got no choice, but they have to show you the actual data that they have. We know through research, you can't say, oh, you need to show me it under the Law of Property Act 1925 or 1989, whichever one you want to use, because it's not contained in that law.
Right.
It says they have to have it, but it doesn't say they have to show you it.
Right. Okay,
and that's what they'll fight you back with. That's what they'll read, but oh no, we don't have to show you, and you just reiterate. So there is a set sequence to do it. And this is the good thing with the debt collectors when they've said, oh, we've purchased your debt. They're very cocky. They're very arrogant. They think we're all stupid, but they also think that you're going to panic. And 99% of people are going to panic as soon as they get that letter from debt collector. Oh my God, it's been sold. The bailiffs are going to knock on my door, and that's never going to happen anyway. It's so far down the line that it's you'd never have to worry about it. And if you handle everything correctly, it'll never happen. But you always have to act. Never ignore anything. I mean, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, just ignore it, return to sender. It's your straw man. It's not you. Well, they can still go and take the straw man's house and the straw man's car, right? Let's put it that way.
Yes.
So, we know it's the straw man, right? But come on, they're going to go and they're going to take it anyway. All right. And what we do is we actually attack them. We're turning the tables on them because they have not got a deed of assignment. Therefore, under GDPR and DPA 2018, they simply can't show you it. So in reality, if we're using that legislation against them, it's called concealment. Now, that can actually be seen as a criminal offense.
Right.
So we don't want to push it down that way, but that's how serious it is. So we send off the first set of, or the first notice, what we call the SAR, the subject access request. Some other people might call it a DSAR, which is a data subject access request. It's exactly the same thing. We're just asking for all the data on these specific questions. I've seen quite a few people's subject access requests or DSARs, and they've got literally 20, 30 questions. They're never going to answer it. You're wasting your time. You have to be laser focused and go straight down what we want, which is the legally executed deed of assignment, knowing they haven't got it. So therefore, they're going to fail at that hurdle.
So just before you go on, then let me ask you how do you present one of these SARs, these SARs requests? What is it in the form of a letter? Dear sir, this is a DSAR or a SAR request. Please will you supply the data on the specific thing that you hold on me? Is that the sort of thing?
Exactly that. And so what it is a notice. It comes up, it's got written on the top notice, which like coming under these property regulations is very important. So it's not a letter. In other words, they have to take a notice, which is why they send you the notice of assignment.
Notice. Yeah.
Okay. So and what exactly what you've said, and what we're going to say is, under at the top under GDPR and DPA 2018, so they know that that's the law. Call it law because that's what they'll be calling it, or the regulations that we are using against them. So that's what we're asking for, not the Law of Property Act.
So GDPR, and what was the other thing? 2000
DPA or Data Protection Act.
Data Protection, DPA. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only get you to do that because I've had a few people on the last time we said this. That Peter Wilson, I love his accent, but I couldn't hear some of the words. So I'm just clearing it up for those who are not so familiar. So
yeah, I'm trying to be very clear as well. I'm trying.
And you are clear. No, Peter, you are very clear. But so yeah, Data Protection Act. So there we are, DPA 2000.
Yeah, so that would go on. Well, you've got notice, then you've got that word. And what I'll do is I'll give you all the templates, and you can attach them onto this video as well.
Right. Okay. That's very kind.
Because there's a series of them there, and again, I'm not going against anybody else, but there's other groups out there that literally will charge you hundreds of pounds just for the first SAR, or DSAR or whatever. So if you change like what the DSARs that I've seen that are going like, oh, I want to see the proof that the credit was me, and where's me promissory note and return my original document. You're never going to get any of that. You're never going to get like what you want. What you want is rid of them and not paying what you don't owe. Well, we know we're not going to go down the credit creation. We know all of that, or most people will anyway, but there's plenty other videos to look at for that. So what they're trying to say is that they've got your debt now and that you owe it to them.
Yes.
So just as an essence of it, right? If it's a £10,000 loan that you have got, however you've got it, right, from the bank, then they will pay about £200 for that. So, they're already in huge profit from, they'll go straight away for the low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
Now, they don't just buy your loan or your data, they buy a huge block of data. I've seen the websites that they sell these data blocks on. One of the insiders actually showed us the websites. It's literally a bidding website. It's like eBay, but it's not eBay, right? So they go on and they bid. So they'll either bid a certain amount and say we've purchased it, or bid a lower amount and say we're now the agent. Now, again, we'll just concentrate on the ones that say they purchased it. So when they've bought it for that, a lot of people panic and immediately they're going to set up payment plans or pay it in full if they've got spare cash for whatever it is. So then raking in tons of profit for things that they don't own. They do not own that. They've simply bought information, your information, which is illegal in its own sense anyway. So you send off the SER.
Yep.
Under GDPR regulations, you have to allow them 30 days to reply. Because they haven't got a deed of assignment, they're always going to reply, no matter what they say, with non-compliance. Because they're going to say, We don't need to show you the deed of assignment. It's got sensitive information on, it's got like commercial information. We don't need to show you anything. Well, they can redact it, and we've got case law to show they can redact it. They have to redact it. But they're trying to go off the Law of Property Act, not the GDPR, you see. So that's what they think. They're being clever there as well. So what we'll do is you have to allow them 30 days. Some of them don't reply. Some of them literally just don't reply. But if they reply and they're telling you they can't show you the deed of assignment, they're not being compliant. So we're going to send the second notice to them and repeat the questions, but also say, look, we're really disappointed, a bit concerned that there must be something wrong with your data protection within your company, because under these regulations, you must show us all data. So we're going to give you another 7 days to respond with compliance, GDPR full compliance. And if not, we're going to complain to the ICO, which is the Information Commissioner's Office. And then what we do is, after the 7 days, 99.9% of the time, you never get a response then, never. So you must file a complaint. So you must file a complaint with the ICO. And I'm not saying the ICO are going to do anything. They're not going to go, all right, okay, forget it, you don't know anything. But you need your evidence pack for when we take them to court.
Right.
So you need your paper trail of what you've attempted, what you've done, and how honorable you've been trying to resolve this matter. So you file the complaint. It's very easy. Just go to Google, just put ICO complaint. It'll come up, and it's step-by-step instructions, shows you what to do. So you file your complaint, you upload on the ICO website the scans of the notices you've sent them and any replies stating they haven't shown us the deed of assignment and it's under GDPR regulations. You have to show it DPA 2018, blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to wait for a response, and you don't have to worry about the response from the ICO. The last response I got actually did agree, went, yes, they've breached your GDPR. But sometimes I've never had a reply at all, So, but it's all about our paperwork and our trail of what we have done to try and resolve the matter. So the moment that you file the complaint to the ICO, you're going to send, I wouldn't even call it a third SER, a third notice, which is, let's just call it a notice before claim. Some people would call it a letter before claim. Some people call it a letter before action, but it's still a notice, and I would still have notice written on, notice before claim, and it's going to explain to them that we've filed a complaint with the ICO. We still haven't received a reply for them, which is in full compliance. That's the word we want to use, compliance. So therefore, we're considering legal action. So we will give them 7 days to reply with full compliance to GDPR and DPA 2018, or we will be looking at starting legal action. So we've sent them the third notice. Now, the reason why we do it, I'll show you the reason, the book. We have to follow court procedure rules.
Yeah.
So under the court procedure rules, we have to do everything on a step-by-step basis and record everything, which is, again, why you file the complaint. Not just you should anyway to the ICO, but you want a trail of everything you've done. And you have to do it all correctly following, the book.
The Court Practice 2022, Volume 1.
Now,
looks
you don't
like
have to go
another
buy
big
the book.
book. God, look at that.
This is an expensive book, but you don't have to go and buy it. You can go on Google and you can download a couple of pages. What you want to do is, there's 2 sections that you want to go under, but it's all about the pre-action protocol. Whoops.
I've lost you. There you go.
I knocked me camera, flew away. All right. It's the pre-action protocol of what they would do if they wanted to take you to court and vice versa.
Yes.
So we're literally turning the tables on them. Now, again, we've got the proof of it, like with that court case that we've just done, that I was mentioning before, when they sent all of the evidence that from the bank of all of their templates by accident. I don't know why, but they also sent what they called the deed of assignment. So we're going to send them that notice before claim saying we're going to give you 7 days more, and then we're going to start proceedings, because that's what it says in that book. You have
Yeah.
to do these steps, and if you're not giving them notice, then you won't be able to take them to court.
Right.
But this is the good thing. Does it not sound good though? You know, you're
Yeah. Yeah.
actually dealing with
Yeah.
these
You're on the
debt
offensive
collectors.
instead of on the defensive.
Exactly. We've got
Yeah.
to be the aggressor. We've got to be on the attack. You know, the best defense is attack. So this is what's reversing it. So what you don't want to do is be sending all of these rebuttal letters off I've seen people saying, oh, I've used the 3-letter process. Okay, how long have you been writing letters for? Oh, a year. How many letters have you sent? Oh, about 208. Yeah, so you're still doing them. So
Hmm.
it's never ending. There's no end to it. The debt collectors will not stop. You know, if they think that they could just keep sending and you can send off and send your fee schedule, it's not going to stand up to anything. But if we use their regulations and their legislation, that's when we can stand on it.
Yes. So
So
during this process, is it likely, does it happen that the enforcement companies, the debt collectors go, uh-oh, this guy knows what he's doing, we'll drop it?
very, very much so, yeah. And I've got a whole drawer full here of cases that have been dropped in exactly that same way. But on this one, what we actually want to do is go even further and get compensation for them from them as well.
Right.
So the next step, following on from the Green Book as well, the court procedures, we're going to send them what we call an intent to prosecute. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, right, again, we're very disappointed. You haven't been compliant. We haven't got our data. This is your last chance. I'm giving you an extra 7 days to give us all the information we've requested. Here's a list of what we want. So you're going to again mention, I want my legally executed valid deed of assignment under those laws of Property Act 1989, 1925. But it's under GDPR we're asking for them, though, not the Law of Property Act. That's the difference.
Yes.
So once you've sent the intent to prosecute, we also include and say we are going to file for compensation for the distress and the inconvenience that's being caused to us, and we're having to go through this situation. So we're going to ask for £5,000 compensation. However, you can settle now, drop the matter now, and settle for 2,500. So you make them an offer, and then remember, when you make an offer, you're always going to put at the bottom all rights reserved, and make sure that you've got yourself covered on there. So although you're making an offer, you're not going to be tied to the offer if anything changes and you do end up in court. So you just put like without prejudice on as well.
Right.
So you can't be held to it. Which means basically any offer that you make when you get to court, if they haven't accepted the offer, then the offer is off the table.
Right. Yeah.
So obviously we're saying we're going to give them 7 days, seeing if they will settle. What we get back a lot of the times is like, before is like flustered letters, and we're dropping everything. We don't want anything to do, forget it. No problem. We're removing it, blah, blah, blah. But to continue and to get compensation, which is what you should get, you would just go and file your court case now using what we call an N1 at the court. Again, easy. Just put in Google N1 court filing, and you're going to file against them for compensation because of your breach of GDPR and DPA 2018. So we have now the first SCR. You've sent it via either recorded delivery or first class signed for, but you've got proof you posted it, proof you got it delivered. Say you've got the reply. So you're going to show them the reply in your evidence pack you're going to give to the court. In the evidence pack, it shows there, this is their reply. It's not compliant. There is no deed of assignment in there. Then you're going to show them your second notice, asking for it, and telling me you're going to send it to the ICO. Then your third stage is there's a copy of my complaint to the ICO. If they get the agreed with you, like I did last time, then you include that in it as well. Then you're going to show them your notice before claim to show them I've followed the rules. The Green Book says I need to give them a notice before claim. Here it is. Still no compliant response. no valid, legally executed deed of assignment that we've asked for.
Mm.
So then you show them the last in the evidence pile, all in the big pile of paper. There's a copy of my notice. The last one, intent to prosecute. We're at our wit's end now. We're filing the complaint. Now, under GDPR, and it's we are allowed, I think it's Article 82, you're allowed to file for compensation for distress and inconvenience caused by their actions. So what we'll do is we'll put in for 5,000 compensation, which seems to be a sweet spot where it's not being silly. We're not asking for hundreds of thousands or anything like that, but we're not being ridiculously low either. But remember, you add on your costs. So you've got your court fee you'll have to pay. I think it's £270 now or something. It keeps changing. So you add that on, 5,000 plus, and then you put that in. And what we do is we put on here as well, we're going to include from the book, right? We have to go back to the book, and it's coming under, on here is section CPR 31.6, which is the disclosure. So on there, it states that they have to disclose everything. I'll let you go and read it yourselves, but they have to show you every document that they have, even if it's detrimental to their case. That's what it says in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it helps them, they've got to show it. If it's detrimental, they have to show it. So we specifically ask for the disclosure, standard disclosure 31.6. We include that in our paperwork that we've sent off. So under the 31.6, we list the data that we want. So the data that we want is really just the legally executed valid deed of assignment under the Law of Property Act 1989 miscellaneous provisions, which shows them it must be signed and witnessed correctly. So in the last court case that Richie, he didn't even get to court, by the way, because they wouldn't go, the debt collector.
Oh, right.
They sent the deed of assignment. So it was great. So, okay, let's have a look at the deed of assignment. It was blank. It had no data on whatsoever. It was like, here's a deed of assignment from Barclays Bank, right? And it had the director's name to PRA Group Limited. There's their director's name. No signatures from either of them, but no data on about, and the date of it was about 2 years before his case. Just a completely utter blank document. Crazy. So, you know, so what happened is that when it was coming up to his case, so he was supposed to go to court on that date. They were taking him because that's what we wanted to do. We were filing it as a defense rather than our claim. They didn't pay the fee and they didn't turn up. So he won by default judgment. So not only is that debt forever knocked off, they can never ask for it ever again. They can't sell it to any other debt collector. That's it, finished now, dead in the water. But now he can file for a counterclaim because they've actually went through all of that action with him. So that takes a bit longer to do because now he has to go through all the procedure I've just explained. But still, it was very good proof showing you the only thing that they haven't got is the thing that they desperately need is the legally executed deed of assignment. And if you're asking for it correctly under GDPR and DPA 2018, and again, when you get to the court, use CPR 31.6, they have to show you it.
So okay, so that's if they've claimed they've bought the debt.
Yeah.
If they're acting as an agent, what would be your approach then?
Yeah. So the second stage, right, or the second part of it, so you send off your first SCR, doesn't matter what they say, if they've bought it or not, because you need their response to see how you act.
Yes.
So even if they've sent you a notice of assignment saying we bought the debt, you send the SCR off, it's the same. You're going to ask for the legally executed deed of assignment. And this, again, is where the debt collectors, they get very excited. Oh, we don't need to show you that because we haven't got it. We haven't bought the debt. All right.
Right.
So we're just acting as an agent. We're just acting on their behalf.
Yes.
So we're like, oh, okay. So what we do is I have a notice that we've created. And what I've done is I've had it legally checked as well, you know, with legal sources to make sure it's 100%. And it basically says, thank you for your confession that you have no deed of assignment, that you have no contract with us. Therefore, you are nothing but a third party interloper with no chose in action. That's the word we have to use. Chose in action, which
Is
is
that
how
CHOSE?
it is.
Chose. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. Which is a thing, a thing. And that's what they call all properties. If you haven't got a chosen action, you haven't got a thing in action. Therefore, you haven't got anything you can take to enforce in court.
Right.
So we list that and then we say, so under those circumstances, we request you cease and desist, or demand you cease and desist from this moment on. And then what we will say is any further correspondence, apart from you confirming you are ceasing the action, will be seen as harassment. And we
Yes.
will file for damages for harassment. And that generally finishes it off, because and what would happen is if they did respond without saying we're confirming we're dropping the case, with usually what
Yeah.
they do is they send you it and say, oh, we've handed it back to the bank.
Right.
That's generally
Yeah.
what happens.
Or the
But
original client, whoever it is.
yeah, exactly what it will be. So, the or the credit card company. I mean, these are brilliant for credit, brilliant for unsecured loans, unsecured finance, unsecured debts. You can manipulate them little bits for council tax, okay? So, and I can work on the manipulation on that, because they also haven't got a legally executed liability order
No.
on court paper with a court stamp and a signature, right? So that you can, change it a little bit, but it's perfect for any unsecured credit that you've got or unsecured debts. So a lot of the times, like I say, once you've actually sent the cease and desist, they will say, oh, we've sent it back to the original creditor, the bank, the credit card company, or whatever.
Because they know that's a checkmate, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've sent it back, and they know there's nothing that they can do. Now and again, they will now and again sell it again to another debt collector, and it's the same process. You do the same process. But if they did continue writing to you, so there are two or three of them, that are very arrogant, and Cabot is one of them, PRA Group is another, but they usually buy it or say they've bought it. But then all you would do is you would actually just change it slightly. So now you're not asking for a legally executed deed of assignment. What you're doing is you're going to actually send in a claim against them for the harassment, because they've got no legal standing. They haven't got any proof that have got a legal standing to collect that debt. So,
and what about those ones that persist by sending you text messages, and I have this issue, and you can't seem to block the bloody text messages. I don't know how that's possible, that they can send you a message that you just cannot block. You can't reply to them.
yeah,
You can't block them for some reason.
yeah, it's software. Software to stop you blocking what they can send, which initially I would say do not give people, right?
The
like
number.
any creditors, don't give them the numbers to anything. Or, you can have, like I have 2 or 3 phones, then give them the number that you never use, so you don't have to worry about. And the same with emails as well. But then, as I say, if they keep contacting you, and they have not got that, they haven't got the deed of assignment, let's just say that it's the second lot that are saying, oh, I'm just the agent, then we would just, like, the compensation would just go up and up and up, and we would be telling them, but you will be filing it at court. So, if they haven't got a chosen action, then, and they'll keep on sending you all of this correspondence, then that is harassment.
Yes.
So we can file for harassment, compensation under the Harassment Act. So that's the way you would actually do with that, and that's how you would handle it. And then you just add on. So if they keep sending text, you add on and add on until it gets to court. Once it's in the court, generally they don't turn up, like what happened just the other week or the other month. They just don't turn up because it's not worth their while. They'd rather pay the compensation and just get out of there. But and then they will have to stop, because that debt in that case is now completely finished.
Yes. The court case brings it to an end.
Yeah. But this is the way that we have to look at it, rather than waiting. I mean, there's so many times, I get messages all the time, and it goes in our Facebook group all the time. They say, oh, I've got this court summons from a fake court. I mean, we know it's all fake court and straw man, but they can still take your money. You know, and they might say, oh, it's only fiat currency, but they can still take it out of your bank account. They can still go, and all these ridiculous things happen to you, and you can stop it way before then.
Yes.
Never stick your head in the sand. Always, always, you know, work towards it. And the thing is, as well, if, say, you've got the belief in yourself, or you feel that you're not like ready to fight like that, you're not ready to write those notices, I'm never going to go to court, I'm terrified of all of that, then, you know, we do have like ways that we can actually help you and stop all of the debt anyway. And it's not going on an IVA, it's not going on you know, the orders from the government.
An IVA, what's that?
It's the voluntary option. I can't remember the whole. It's I can't remember what it is, but it's a voluntary organization. It goes in, you freeze it. It's like bankruptcy.
Right.
So we've got companies that will set up an IVA, and I can't remember what the I stands for. It's a voluntary arrangement, and what they'll do is the last IVA, 2 IVAs I've dealt with. This is how bad they are. I'm just telling you this. Right, one of them was paying £375 a month for 5 debts. Each creditor was getting £1 a month, and the IVA company kept the rest.
Wow! So be paying for yonks.
That was, I can't remember how many years. 5 years, I think that was.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, and then at the end of 5 years, they try and make an offer to try and wipe it off, but you could still have to pay it. So the worst one was over a 10-year period.
Good
God. And they were paying like something like 4 times what the original debt was.
Yes, yes.
But they think it's good because they're on an IVA. You can do it without having to do an IVA. We've got cases that people that owed over 20 grand, and they were paying £1 a month. Not an IVA, interest all frozen, no texts, no phone calls, no letters, no nothing. Right, give it 6 months to a year, then make them an offer to close it down for, like, say, 5% of what the original was, and generally they accept. Yeah, I mean, you need someone to help you manage it, but, you know, I can pass you on to people who do that, and it's not an IVA, it's not bankruptcy, and it's not the order from the government. You know, it's completely independent, and you are in charge of it yourself.
Yes, it's a private agreement, I suppose.
Well, it's coming under what we call like a legal Mackenzie friend.
Right.
So, you know, Mackenzie friend is someone who'll help you legally if you're going into court and you have to do, you know, they're not allowed to speak or anything like that, but they can help you and support you. And that's what this guy will do. And he'll actually do all that for you. And it's backed up by a big group of barristers and solicitors as well. So it's quite powerful. And if you don't want to fight by sending the notices and by you know, like trying to get them to go into court, you know, if that's a worry to you, then there is an option as well. There's always an option to a financial problem. There's always a financial solution. You don't need to worry about it on your own. Speaking to somebody, you know, is the first thing.
Yes.
You know, just sending, like, contact me, for instance. I mean, I always chat to loads of people online all the time on emails, just helping them get through, helping them make decisions, and then send them to the right party. If it, you know, it's not for me to decide what you're going to do, but I've got multiple professionals that I can send you to that will be able to help if you don't feel you can deal with this situation. Yeah. There is a way out.
And I suppose that's the thing, because people are hearing this now. They're slowly beginning to understand that there is a solution to some of these issues. They're feeling the squeeze left, right and centre. And as you say, they're not always up to speed with it. They may have only got 10% of the knowledge that you've been talking about, and they just need that guidance for the first time. But the second time and the third time, they may then, their confidence has built, and they go, do you know what? You know, this is, to me, this is fraud. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to do as Peter said, and the confidence builds. And of course, the more people that do this, presumably these debt collectors will start to see a surge of people doing this. They think this is not a business that is viable anymore.
Mm. Well, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? But the thing is, like I said, what we'll do is I'll send you, so you can attach them onto the video, a list of everything. The first SCR, the second one, we're going to show you where the complaint to go to the ICO, go into the notice before action, the intent to prosecute, and then also a link you can put in for the N1 where the court is. So I can give you all that. So they'll get all of the templates ready to go so they can study them and do what they want with them. All for free. They can just get them. But like I
Well,
say,
that's very kind. I mean, I'll put in order to attach them on YouTube, I'll have to put them on my website and then put links to them so people can access them.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've got links. I can send you the links if you like.
Yeah, send me the links. That would be good.
Because I've put it online as well, so it's just stored in a cloud or something like that.
Yeah.
So they go and just click a link and it'll take them to them documents. They can download them from themselves, but I mean, and that's the steps of everything they need to do. And also if they go on to my channel, like Return to True Democracy, I've actually got a video step of every single notice that I've talked about.
Oh, well, I'll put a link to I'll definitely put a link to that.
Each individual one explains what to do on each step as well. But and so the help is there, but like I'm saying, if you're so worried about it, there is other ways to try and get help. You can just speak to us and we'll send you to the right place, and you don't have to worry about anything. I know a lot of people that will do so much for free. They'll not worry about it, and they're all just trying to help. And it's not always possible, but I know that they do a lot for free and helping people. Because we got to look at it on the other side of debt. I mean, the debt in the UK is nearly, I'm not talking about mortgages, just unsecured debt is over £3 trillion.
Wow.
Of like credit card debt, like consumer debt.
I can't imagine what that is,
Yeah. And it's raising every second by £5,000 per second.
Wow.
And obviously it does not help whatsoever with what's going on. The government have done with the interest rates, and it is the government. Forget like the rest of it. They run everything. The corporations are in charge of it all. So the interest rates and mortgages are flying through the roof. I know a lot of people are literally on the verge of losing property now because they can't afford it. Look at what they're doing with all of the utility bills and everything like that. So this just piles on top of it, and we know that there's between 16 and 18 suicides like a week in the UK. And a lot of it we know is to do with financial stress.
Yeah, and that's just awful.
There's a resolution there. There's somebody to talk to. You can get to speak to somebody. And if you've got that kind of debt, we know we can get all the payments frozen. If nothing else, they could get go in there, speak to someone, and they'll freeze all the payments. They'll freeze the interest, and then they'll sort something out for you so that you've got rid of all that stress. There's definitely, it's a financial problem. There's a financial solution. It's a mathematical problem. There's a mathematical solution. We can do it, and it can take all that stress away from you. You either fight, as I've explained it, or let someone else take the lead, and you let them get on with doing their job.
Can I ask you another a question related to this, but somewhat different?
Yeah.
When you get these people coming with their supposed "you owe us this money" letters, when I've looked at their businesses or their companies, they're all VAT registered, but they don't put a VAT sum on whatever they call a bill, or because they never really seem to send you a proper invoice that would show whatever is VAT rated. Now, it's my understanding that if they're asking you for money and they're sending you a bill or an invoice, it should show, if they're VAT registered, what it is, even if it's 0 rated. But they don't seem to do that. Is that a bit of a legal loophole to say, well, your bill isn't even a legal bill?
That I don't know. I have to tell you. So there's one. I have to go and check that one out. I'll have to look at that myself.
Because if they're VAT registered, they can't issue a bill without breaking it down to say what the VAT is. Well, if they have bought or haven't bought, or whatever their personal, what they're putting on top of. So if let's say they bought the bill for a tenner, but they're charging you £100. what proportion of that is VAT, and
Mm.
where has it come from? Has it come from the original bill they bought, or is it on their survey? It's obscure, and I've seen a video of a chap who was pretending to be the accountant of a chap who was supposed to be in debt and saying, well, we're happy to pay it, but you haven't sent us the invoice for it. And in your bit of paperwork, it just says this amount. Is that VAT registered? You're VAT registered, so what's the VAT on it? And it was messing the heads of the debt collectors because they didn't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, if you imagine that they literally have bought that data, but they're telling you they bought the debt for, like, say, 10 grand, £200. So that's a ridiculous amount of profit, but they will just put in that top amount straight away.
Yeah.
So in reality, from what you're saying, they should actually charge VAT, or at least they should pay VAT on it, because that's their profit,
Yeah.
or turnover.
And they have to disclose it, as far as I understand, because they're sending you an invoice, so you have to know what money is being paid to the government. Now, I don't know if debt is VAT is zero rated, but even if it is, you still have to show it on an invoice.
Mm-hmm.
But they
you
don't
never
give
get
you
an
an
invoice, or do you? You just get these demands.
Yeah.
You pay me this now, or we're going to take legal action, and that's the thing is, it's just that straight away they're very, very aggressive. And like you said there about the text messages, we've got clients that have got text messages 4 and 5 and 6 a day.
Yeah.
Plus they're getting emails, plus they're getting letters, and it does put a massive strain on them. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes people just haven't got it in them anymore. Or, I can't do this fight, and I'm not going to try and go into a court. Or, you wouldn't have to get into court. 90%, they're never going to turn up. But, people haven't got it in them. So there are other solutions, though. So all I'm saying is they should never, ever feel that you're beaten. There's no need to go so low. There's people to speak to, and there's a way out of everything.
Brilliant.
There's always a resolution.
Yeah. Peter, it's always a joy to talk to you. You give such positive vibes, as well as lots of interesting information and common sense. And as you say, you've got all the information on Return to True Democracy, which is the YouTube channel. I'll link that in the description. And claimyourstrawman.com, which is where people can find you and learn more about it. And you'll send me the links, and I'll put those in the description.
Yeah, I'll send the links for all of the SCRs, each step all the way down, and they can just download that, and they've got them straight away, and they can just edit them for their own little details, take out the bits that they don't need, add in their names and addresses and all their account numbers, and then whoever it is that the debt collector is. It's all there ready to go.
And if people want to actually speak to you, they can come to the Lawful Remedy event in Hull, I think it is, that you're going to be at.
Yeah, right? I'm going to that one. Can't remember the date, but it's...
no, I can't remember the date, but it'll be... we're doing... it'll be in the show notes of the next Lawful Remedy show. So you can get a ticket and come along and ask your question from the audience, which will be great. And
yeah, I'll put my name down for that one, so I'll be along there. Yeah,
put Pete on the spot, but he seems to be very clued up, if you ask me, which is fantastic.
I'm looking forward to going there. I haven't been to Hull for a while, but I've been there a few times when I was in the Navy. We went there. It was great.
Ah, there you are. I have been there when I think it was the year of culture, and it was the City of Culture that year, which is going back a few years now, and they had done some all sorts of bizarre. I was doing corporate stuff for a client as a corporate filmmaker, but that was a few years ago. So I haven't been there since, but I've been over the Humber Bridge.
Right. Well, I've sailed up and back on the Humber a few times.
Have you? Oh, yeah. How brilliant.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
Back in it was 1983, and we were actually escorting the Norland, which was a ferry converted into a troop ship. We escorted it back from the Falklands.
Oh, wow.
So then we took it into the Humber to go into Hull, and it was so bad wind, stormy, that the Norland had to turn back and go out. So, we sailed all the way up, and then they said, we passed what's called a light boat, which is like a little boat that's on top of a sandbank that's got a flashing light, like a lighthouse, but in the river.
In the river, right.
So we passed it, and because we're a Royal Navy ship, We're passing that is called a merchant ship, and it has to dip its ensign like a salute. So it dipped its ensign, and this is just a little boat. The guy just goes like that up and back. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. But the officer in charge, I was on the bridge, and he went, "You have to go and dip it. You've got to like return the salute." So it was like 95 to 100-mile-an-hour winds. So I've went outside and I'm on the mast, right, and I'm hanging onto this metal rail for my life, hanging on to trying to pull the ensign down. I got it down, right, dipped it enough. I got it halfway up. I went, "Now I've had enough." I tied it up and I went back in.
Yeah. Oh,
so when the Norland stopped and turned back, it was, we can't tie against harbour. We'll get blown off. It's too dangerous. Someone will get killed. So they went back, and so the skipper, he went, "Oh, we have to go back as well." So we went and passed this little boat, and the guy did again. He pulled it.
Did it again?
And the officer, he says, "Go on then, go and dip the ensign again. Do you want it dipped?" Says, "You can go do it yourself."
Do it yourself.
Oh, it was terrible. I was hanging off. It was like blowing me, nearly throwing me into the river. I'd have been finished. They'd have never found me.
No, God, blimey. How interesting.
All these adventures.
Yeah, there you go. It's a different life, isn't it? Brilliant. Pete, thanks so much for joining us today, telling us that little story at the end. It's been a joy. And as ever, you've made the GDPR, data protection, debt collection very easy. But if you want to know more, go and check out Pete's websites and his YouTube channel, of course. And come and see him in Hull. I haven't got the information in front of me when it is, but it's in June, I think. It
is June. I just can't remember what day it is.
No, but it'll be on The Lawful Remedy, so check one of those videos. Brilliant. Thanks, Peter.
No worries. Thank you.
And I dare say we'll see you on the Lawful Remedy live show at some point in due course.
Oh, definitely get back on.
But that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for everybody watching. I'll be back with more monologues and, of course, wonderful guests in the meantime from Peter and I. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Bye.
Bye for now.